Hello everyone, it is the 6th of September 2024. Sitting here on my couch redoing my intro. I came to find out that the entire introduction that I had recorded outside earlier today didn't get recorded, so I'm having to redo it from scratch. Once again, I'm technically challenged. So, as I said, today's the 6th. It's been exactly 1 month since I had my surgery. I still have my cast on, so not a whole lot I can do, but I did do some small things, or had some small things planned. Um, let's see, I sent my clock back to Main Street Classic Car Clocks in Denver. The guy there is honoring the warranty, even though I've already sent it back to him once. He said I could send it to him again because it's still not working right. It keeps quitting. So I took care of that. I had read through my owner's manual in the glove compartment for something to do one day, and a couple things that caught my eye. One was that they said in the owner's manual that it's not unusual for this car to consume a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. This is when it was new, so I was surprised to see that. So, and I had put some oil in it recently, so now I'm less concerned about that. Tolerances were a lot looser back then, I guess, in the 60s. Also find it interesting that they talk about increasing air pressure if you have sustained driving above 75 miles an hour. And then they go on to say that they don't recommend sustained driving above 90 miles an hour. So I guess it's okay to cruise in these old Lincolns up to 90 without a problem, as long as you put a little more air in the tires. Um, the main thing I had planned for today was to replace the motor on the left rear door, and that's where I was sitting from when I recorded, I thought, my intro. Um, so I got a new motor under warranty from Rock Auto. The first one appeared to have failed, although I discovered later I don't think that was the case, but I replaced it anyway. Um, I had to redo my seatbelt warning light thing because my last repair that I did and made a video about it failed. It stopped working, and I found out the reason was because that little screw that goes in and out on the retractor that activates the switch, I didn't have it adjusted correctly. There's a little Goldilocks, if you will, area that you got to have it adjusted just so, because in my case I had it out a little too far. So what happened? It went beyond the travel of the plastic housing that holds that screw, and once it did that, it couldn't screw itself back in, and it stayed. It kept the button pushed in on the switch, so the light would never come on. So I had to take it apart and readjust that. So I put the screw a little further in this time. So this time when it screws out, it doesn't go too far. Of course, it has to go far enough to activate the switch, but I managed to get it this time. I lost the little pin that holds the cover on, the switch onto the retractor, so I had to drill out a hole and put a little nut and bolt on there to hold it together. But that is done. Let's see, what else have I got here? Um, I wish I could remember what else I babbled on about this morning. Oh, well, no, actually, I showed that later, so never mind. I guess that was really about it. I mean, I can't really do a whole lot until this cast comes off, so I'm just going to patch my clips together and upload this update. I'm sure there were other things I talked about, but anyway, we'll see how the rest of this goes. Oh, just a reminder, this little device right here at my left foot, that's a thermocell. That's a mosquito repellent, and it works really, really well. So I've mentioned that before, but in case you're wondering what that little thing was sitting on the ground, that's what that is. Keeps the mosquitoes away. All right, a couple things under the hood here recently. This is new, well, new old, if you will. Found somebody on Facebook that was selling that assembly there, the snout and the stove that sits on the intake manifold. Won't affect how the car runs, but it is a detail item. I am very detail oriented when it comes to these cars. I like to keep everything as original as possible. So you can see it's rusty and it's a different color than the rest of it. So eventually when I do a proper restoration and have the engine out again and have all that cleaned up, it'll all be the same color. So that was added just yesterday. This is something else I got recently too, a set of flare nut wrenches here that have a swivel on them. And this is what I believe I need to properly tighten those high pressure fittings there on the steering gear. I don't even know if you can see them in this angle or not, but there's one of them is still leaking a little bit. That's why my power steering level keeps ending up low after a while. So I'm hoping this gives me enough of an angle and also allows me to tighten it tight enough so I can finally stop that from leaking, because I do not want to mess with taking the booster out and the master cylinder. That's just not worth it to me. So still need to tighten my drive belts. They're not real loose, but they do need to be tightened, and that's just something I'll wait on till I'm fully recovered from my surgery. Now I'm going to walk you to the shed for a couple more things. Another detail item here, this Continental Star on this door panel on the passenger front door. The old one was missing one of these pieces right here. When I went to Waldorf to get the stainless steel trim on the outside, I took one of those door panels too that he had and swapped that out recently. So that's complete now. Here are the two power window motors that I've been talking about. This is the one I just took out that ended up being defective. Like I said before, it turned out my connectors here were fine. They held very tightly. What the motor is doing is it gets stuck trying to go in the down position. Going up is fine, but I always noticed, even when I first installed it back in March, I think it was, it had this funny noise. You could hear it while it was spinning, like a little grinding noise. So I always was suspicious of it. And then when it failed, well, that kind of sealed that deal. So here's the next one, identical, of course, and I got to do the wiring, and I'll have to tap out the threads over here for the mounting holes. I think I mentioned before that I had bought a complete cruise control unit too from another guy on Facebook. I do intend to test that servo just out of curiosity. It'd be really cool if it actually worked. Doubt that it will, but it would be cool if it did. But the most important piece, as I mentioned before, is this switch right here, the turn signal switch right here, this 2-position switch. I'm going to be testing that. I have an old harness right here I can use just to wire it together right there, and without taking anything apart in my car, and just test it out. And if it tests good, then I will probably install this, even though this is not nearly as pretty as the one that's on the car right now. But function is important to me, so I probably will do that. We'll see. Or what I could also do is just save it for my tilt steering column, which is over there, and just use it on that someday. I may do that instead. I don't know yet. Here's the box from that NOS power, that master vent switch I was just showing you. And this is the cartridges that are used in that thermocell that keeps the mosquitoes away. Okay, I think that's it for the introductory stuff. I'll wrap this up when I've done installing this motor, and maybe if I test that today too. We'll see how the day goes. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. It took me a good part of the day to finish with this door and this window and everything. Just a quick demonstration here. Everything's working on it now very nicely. Everything is lubricated. What I discovered though, and I do this so many times, apparently there was nothing wrong with the other motor. I changed it anyway since I went through the trouble of exchanging it and all that. So when I put the new motor in, it still wouldn't go down. So then I suspected the relays, that are in the trunk behind the seat in the trunk though. I looked at the relays, swapped them out, same symptoms. And then I was looking at my master door, and I realized, you know what? I just got through dealing with this for the right front window, and as soon as I unplugged that left rear switch there, which operates this door, it started working just fine with the switch back here. So it's like, oh my gosh. So all that work really wasn't necessary, and all I really need to do is replace another switch. I thought I already had, but maybe I didn't. So anyway, so I'll just have to replace that switch. And that was it. Besides what I mentioned earlier, have a good day.